Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for being late. We had some major technical difficulties, but we're here, we are live, and we are ready to go. Welcome to the best day of the week, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, and we do have a jam-packed show. We've got a special guest, Mr. Brandon Olson, which I'm going to introduce in just a moment. Before we do, though, let's take a look at what we've got lined up for the show. It's going to be a great one here. Brandon Olson is going to bring us some great information and some intel on Joe Houston. My man went out there and did some journalism, this past couple of days, and got some intel on this. And look, when we've got a guy coming into special teams coordinator, everyone's asking, who is this guy? What are we going to get? We got a special one for you. Then we're going to talk about the contracts that are set to expire tomorrow. And what does that mean? Who is someone going to be let go? Is nobody going to let go? Is an offensive coordinator going to come in? It's the questions we've been asking all offseason long. And I feel like we're going to be a little bit closer now, the fact that we do have 24 hours until all these things flip over. Then the Gators finished 6th and on 3 overall average player rating. Going to talk about that a little bit. And then Tennessee. This is an interesting one we have to unpack completely. They're getting tagged by the NCAA for what everyone's getting tagged for right now, NIL shenanigans. So then we have a nice little fun little game at the end that Dave has created. And I got to say, it's probably the best thing that Dave has done thus far outside of Tweets of the Week. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Swolderquist and Brandon Olson. Swolder, how you doing, big fella?
Oh, man, you don't want to have the day that I had earlier today. A car breaks down on the way to work. You're sitting through work. Then you got to go get it. And then by the time you're here, it's about, what, 5 minutes before the show starts? So, yeah, let's get it. Let's go. High top.
Let's get it. Let's go. Brandon, how you doing, Bubba?
Wonderful. Little red. Just a little red because we are down here in Mobile for the Senior Bowl. And the media section right in the sun. So that one's cooking all of us.
How is the Senior Bowl? I know Ricky's out there burning cats right now. How's that going, man?
It's really fun because you get to watch receivers and DBs kind of go straight up head to head the entire time, and really it's an awesome experience. They end with these little competitive games. Each team does different things. Today they had coaches fielding punts, and last year we were watching linebackers and running backs go at it with pass protection, and it was it's an awesome experience. And Jim Nagy and Dave Rogers, they set up a great experience for the media here.
Who's looked the best so far? Just out of somebody.
Ricky's been dominant. Quinyon Mitchell at Toledo has also had a really good week so far. There was Haynes from UConn, blanking on his first name, but he pissed off an LSU defender today. Completely stonewalled him. LSU defender just ripped off the offensive lineman's helmet. And the offensive lineman just looked at him and he said, "Hey, if you're scared, go to church." And that is what happened. So it's fun. You get these little heated moments and you get to kind of see people in a different environment than you usually do. And it's really competitive. You're doing it in front of all 32 NFL teams, and a bunch of college coaches were here. Even today we had Kalen DeBoer was there. Jed Fish was there. Kirby Smart was here. Rob Sale was here earlier as well. I know that most of the coaching staff is out on the trail. But Rob Sale was here to represent the Florida Gators. He saw Ricky and Kingsley as well.
No Billy Napier?
Nope, no Billy Napier. Billy Napier was not here last year either. Last year
why? Because he's on the trail cooking. That's why, Brandon. He's on the trail, baby.
Kirby's not on the trail.
He probably left in his helicopter and flew to high school while in between snaps. Don't let him fool you. But let's dive into this, man. So you got into work with Mr. Joe Houston here, and actually got a few guys that played with him. I think one played at Iowa State with him, the other one at Toledo, if I'm not mistaken. I watched a little bit of your interview, and look, I think it's great. I mean, hell of a journalistic work by yourself there to tap into that, because there's always big question marks. Like, great, it's somebody new. It's not Chris Couch, but who is he? What is he? What is he going to bring to the table? Again, my biggest takeaway is I think playing at the Patriots organization under Billy B is a massive pull, but you went a little bit further than that. So tell us what you discovered by talking to these guys, and we Gator fans should be excited for what is coming in.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I took away from speaking with both Jamison Vest, who was the kicker at Toledo in 2015 when Joe Houston was on the staff in Toledo, and then Steve Wordle, who was the long snapper at Iowa State for 3 years while Coach Houston was there. The biggest thing was that he finds guys who want to play special teams. Like he finds guys who, or he makes you want to play special teams. He makes it fun, and I think that's an important part of it, because look, everybody wants to be a star. No one wants to be on kick coverage or punt coverage. They want to be the returner if they're playing special teams at all. So I think for the biggest takeaway that I had was just that getting guys excited to actually play special teams, hopefully get all 11 guys on the field at a single time. I think that's you can only go up from here, right, on special teams for Florida.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like with something that has been as lackluster as it's been, I mean, getting guys excited, hopefully enough to be onto the football field. I mean, I feel like maybe our coaches last year were almost too excited. We had too many guys running onto the field at times. So hopefully we can contain that excitement a little bit. From my understanding, though, Joe will not be on the sideline, correct?
I believe he can be on the sideline, but can't have a headset on.
Okay.
So he can't be communicating to the booth through a headset. But I do believe he's allowed on the sideline, but he can't recruit, won't have a headset on the sideline.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So from what you gather from these two guys and done these interview with, and just your own, digging into this, from a scale of 1 to 10, how excited should Gator fans be pumped up about this hire?
Personally, I was a 5 just from the hire, just because it was not
Somebody
Chris
new?
Couch. Yeah, and then after talking to Jameson and Stephen Wordle, I was like a 9 just because it's not just someone new, but it's someone good. And you also have to, like you mentioned earlier, if you get to coach special teams for a guy like Bill Belichick, odds are you're pretty good at that.
And
So for me, yeah, huge.
we mentioned on Sunday's show, he was part of, they were from worst to first. The special teams was atrocious at a time that he was there. So he didn't get fired, but the special team coordinator did get fired. So he was able to see things be turned around under Bill Belichick. Also, too, for you to get two guys to speak on a special teams, I mean, they're kickers, but to speak about their special teams coach and the life they did, again, I think that speaks volume that they were willing to like have that conversation with you about him.
Yeah, a big thing for me on that was Jameson Vest, who Jameson and I went to Toledo together, but didn't know each other at the time.
Okay.
But once they got the hire and I knew that he was at Toledo, I reached out to Jameson. And a big thing for me there was that, and Jameson mentioned this during the interview, was that he never was a full-time kicker. In high school, he was playing quarterback. He was playing defense. He was also doing kicking and punting and handling all of that. But then when he got to Toledo, Coach Brian Gasser, the special teams coordinator there, basically gave Jameson a list of 3 assistants or analysts that would be joining the staff and said, hey, Jameson, you get to pick it as true freshman kicker that we know you're going to start. You get to pick the guy. And he picked Coach Houston because he had previously worked with him, because Coach Houston used to be a kicker at USC and then did kicking camps. And so that was a big selling point for Jameson, where he got to learn from someone who did it at the Power 5 level as well, and really taught him how to become an actual kicker. And Jameson ended up setting multiple Toledo records, both in terms of quantity of field goals made and percentage his junior year.
Hopefully we can see an uptick in Trace Mack. And I mean, look, I mean, we had a game-winning field goal that we missed against Mizzou. So not saying this guy's going to, just explode the offense, but for as many games that we've lost by just inches and yards, these small increments are going to, I'd say, make a huge impact, hopefully, heading into next season. Before we go on to this next subject of coaches, I'm going to let you ask a few questions, Dave, because, again, him bringing this person in, we obviously have contracts expiring, which is the biggest topic, I would say, for Florida football right now, because everyone's wondering, well, what's going to happen? Is anything going to happen? And, again, we're adding this flavor on. I actually did some digging. I was in this rabbit hole last night looking into the contracts of everybody, how much Florida's paying versus what Georgia's paying versus what Mizzou is paying. I got a lot to say. But, Dave, you got anything for Brandon on this before we move on?
No, I just like the fact that I listened to Brandon's interview, and I can't remember if you said that he was hiring somebody for special teams, and he asked the kicker, I guess, who was on special teams. He's a freshman. Like, which one out of these 3 do you think you would mesh well with? And I thought it was pretty cool that, like, Joe Houston actually let him pick the guy that he wanted. So what's really, really funny is, like, if I was that kid and I was that kicker and this guy got hired, I'd be like, hey, you know why he got hired? Because I picked you. That's why. But, like, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, like, when you look at special teams and the way that it's been for the past, I mean, it hasn't even been this year. I mean, you go back to, I think the last punt or kick return we ever had was Kadarius Toney in 2020, and then other than that was Freddie Swain in 2018, somewhere in there. So it's like, not even when it comes to returning kicks, it's just getting the guys on the field not wearing the same jersey, plus also being a little bit productive, maybe setting your football team in some good field position, or maybe you get that extra 3 points from being a return from the 20-yard line, or you get that touchdown on a return. From a lot of the games, especially you go back, you look at 2022, we lost a lot of those games by one possession. Like what would have a special teams, help in, like within field position, or like an extra touchdown would have helped us in a lot of those games. I mean, a lot of some of these other games that we've lost, like Missouri and South Carolina, I know we won that one, but like we could have separated ourselves a little bit more with some good special teams play. So like I don't know what Chris Couch was thinking and what he's been doing behind the scenes, but like you have to win in all three facets of the game. And when you win in all three facets of the game, it's so much easier for you to win those games rather than lose.
During my era, special teams was a big component. It's a game changing, literally the game changer type of position. Bill Belichick has always been keen on having big time special team moments. So for him to be a part of that as well, look, yeah. It doesn't seem like a big hire, but in a way for the position that it is, it's a splash hire. We've been wanting a splash hire and we got it. It's just we weren't looking for the splash in that particular pool, but hey, in that pool, okay, it's getting a 9 out of 10 on that dive. All right, it's one of those small splashes in the Olympics, which is really good. I kind of contradict myself there, but let's talk about the coaching changes here. We'll bring Brandon there as well. I know you were talking about this as well on your show today. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I know that everyone is talking about it. Is the big topic. So here's what I have here. Okay, I actually was able to clip this up, and I actually did the math. I looked at Mizzou, Kentucky, Georgia, Ole Miss. Out of those schools that I just mentioned, we are paying the total amount less than all of those guys. Right about, I think, 6.4, I believe. Georgia's like 7.6, 7.7. Ole Miss is 7.7. Kentucky is 7.7, and I think Mizzou is like 5.8. So they're a little bit lower than we are. And when we first hired everybody, we had an allocated budget of 7.5. Florida chose to only use 6.5. This is not including Mark Hawk, which is also the fourth highest paid strength and conditioning coach, which is also something to note, which we've talked about before. But what I did notice is you can see our highest paid coach as of now is Austin Armstrong, which some can look at it good or bad. So if I'm looking, now we don't have Sean Spencer or Corey Raymond. So I would assume Will Harris is going to come in and make less than Corey Raymond, just given the fact of his track record. Not a shot towards Will Harris, but it's just like anything. These salaries, in my opinion, compare to what the stars are for recruits. So the higher the star, the more value they're going to be. The more experience you have as a coach, obviously, the more that you're going to get in return for getting paid. So when I look at this, one of two things. One, right, either these guys are not performing well, so we're able to get them at a cheaper rate, or two, we got them young, on a rookie contract, essentially. Austin Armstrong, in my opinion, fits into that. Sean Spencer, that's pretty high for a defensive line coach. Rob Sale, we're like, oh, that's O-line coach. He has the title of an OC, so he's kind of managing both. Corey Raymond, I think that kind of speaks to itself. He kind of fits in that category of like he was an old head coming in with a lot of experience. May have, went down a little bit, but that's why he's up there. Obviously, Mike Peterson, Billy Gonzalez, again, somebody who has a ton of experience. You're going to give him a pretty big check. Jabbar, our running back coach, pretty healthy. Darnell, which is the second offensive line coach, and then Bateman, who just left for about a couple milli to go be the defensive coordinator at A&M, and then Russ Callaway, obviously our tight end coach. So with all these contracts expiring, except Austin's is a 3-year contract. He signed that when he came on. We're adding Will Harris, Rob Robertson, who was the 25th highest paid assistant coach last year at Auburn as a defensive coordinator. So very interesting to see how that's going to play out. Will Harris, who else we got? Oh, Gerald Chapman. I'd imagine he's not going to get $1,000 or $1 million spending either. So this is where I'm going at. I'm kind of rambling here, but I wanted to kind of give us all a breakdown of, we talked about not being able to pull coaches in because they didn't want to be a part of a sinking ship. Looking at this, were we also willing to pay some of these guys what they were asking for? Are we willing to give 1.8, 1.9? If you go look at the Mizzous, the Ole Misses, the Georgias, all these guys, all their DCs and OCs are in the 1.8, 1.9 range. Every last one of them. Austin Armstrong, a little bit different situation. I think we were able to get him cheap. But if we go out and get an offensive coordinator, they have to be willing to spend that 1.8, 1.9 range to get quality, in my opinion. I rambled. Brandon, I know you've kind of talked this already and established it. let's hear your thoughts, and then we'll keep rolling on this thing.
Yeah, I think that just the way that I hate the 2-year contract thing. I feel like that's not even enough time to really truly determine how long these guys are or how well of a job these guys are doing, especially when you look at recruiting. If you talk about 2022 season and that's your first year of your contract, bringing guys for the 2023 class, you get them as their true freshman year. That's not really an indicative value of whether or not they actually were worth that. But I mean, Rob Sale has not lived up to that contract figure. And
For sure.
if he's retained, he's not getting a pay cut from that. Sean Spencer, obviously gone, was not worth the money. Corey Raymond was not worth the money. Austin Armstrong has not been worth the money so far. I get it. 1.1 million is cheaper for an SEC defensive coordinator, but that was maybe the worst Florida Gators defense we've seen in 2023. And yeah, talent wasn't really there either, but it just wasn't a good performance there. I do like the Ron Roberts hire. I've been a big fan of Ron since before the Louisiana days, before Billy Napier was ever even in Gainesville. Just schematically, he's done a lot for the game. And then Billy Gonzalez brought in a couple of good guys every now and then, but it's to be determined if they're really going to work out. You look at Trey Wilson. I love what Trey does. 5-star receiver with on 3 it was he used like a wide receiver 1, or was he used like a gadget guy with an average depth of target of about 2 yards past the line of scrimmage? So I think that when you look at just all the salaries, Mike Peterson has lived up to it. If you look at some of the edges that they brought in, when you look at like LJ McCray being recruited by Mike Peterson, Kelby Collins, TJ Searcy, I think Jabbar Jalouk has done that, especially when you look at what Trevor Etienne did. Because with Jabbar Jalouk specifically, I feel like he's not bringing in these 5-star running backs, but he's bringing in guys that will come in and contribute early on. Like Trayon Webb was running back 3 as a true freshman. Trevor Etienne was running back 1B with Montrell Johnson as a true freshman in 2022. So I think that Jabbar Jalouk has not brought in, the highest ranking running backs, but he's brought in guys that contribute, and he's evaluated like crazy. Look at how Kanan Daniels climbed in the rankings from the times that he committed to Florida to signing day until the final rankings came out. Russ Callaway, tight end recruiting hasn't been awesome, but you look at Arliss, you look at Hayden, and just what they've been able to do and how they've progressed in that time. With, again, Russ is only here for 1 year as a tight ends coach. So I think that the way that
he lived it to his role for sure. Yeah, we have more tight end action this year than we have in a very long time, and I think good tight end action as well. And look, we got Amir Jackson. Don't be sleeping on my boy Amir like that, okay? It's a dog. But look, I think you're spot on, and this is my next question, because I don't know how quickly we'll be able to see the new contracts. It's going to be interesting to see, but also too, it's a report card. It's going to tell you, like we just said, Rob Sale making $1 million. Did 131st offensive line out of 132 live up to $1 million? And honestly, it's 1.5 because you got Darnell Stapleton involved with that. I haven't seen much of Rob Sale in the recruiting photos. We did early in December. I've been seeing a lot more Darnell. I'm not saying that there's any firing going on, but just trying to find any tea leaves, because I would seem weird of hanging on to these guys, recruit through December and January, and then go, okay, thanks, but you're out. I don't know. I don't know if Bailey's got that dog in him to just cut somebody cold like that. Like, hey, it's up. I'll see you later. Sean Spencer making $1 million is crazy to me. But look, we've got we have $7.5 million allotted funds to go to coaching. We're not using $1 million of that, which is very interesting. That again, with the struggles that we had in all these positions, and again, the coaches that we have brought in. And this isn't including the nutritionists, because, again, we have spent a ton of money. Now, overall, Billy is, as a whole is spending more than, I think, like Georgia, LSU, and Tennessee. That's including all coaches, because of our staff is so freaking big. But he was still allocated $7.5 million for these assistant coaches, and we didn't spend it. And when we have the struggles that we did, look, I'm always a sunshine pumper. When I wasn't looking for this, I was just looking at the numbers to see where we're going to be come tomorrow. And then I started kind of looking at it some more. I'm like, this is where Billy's going to have a hard part to defend. Like if I'm the CEO, right? If I'm drawing a blank here, head spinning. Who's our AD? Scott Strickland. I want to say Sean Strickland because of the UFC. I was like, it's not Sean. If I'm Scott, go ahead.
It's the devil. Is who our AD.
Okay, I should have went there. if I'm Scott and I look at this, right, I'm kind of going over the budget here. And I'm like, well, why am I paying so much when the production wasn't there? And why are we paying so this and so that? So, and again, I know we have our concerns with Strickland and him not doing his job, which then got me even a whole another level, right? Because Strickland was obviously being targeted by A&M, and everyone was like, I hope he goes. But I was asking, well, does A&M not see what's happening here? But what Strickland, and we talked about what Strickland has done for the rest of the university outside of football and basketball has been exceptional. Number one overall public school. We've won 7 championships out of 11 sports outside of the 2 main ones. And we're going to get into the Tennessee stuff. I'd imagine the A&M pitch was going to be, hey, you're going to come here and manage everything but football because we have our oral money dudes running this thing. We just need you to come and run the pamphlet stuff. We need you to come fill up our pamphlet for these kids to make it look good when the parents come for the rest of the education. We've got football under control. And I hope we hired that AD from A&M to come in and run the front office like an NFL type. We haven't heard any more of it. I'm wondering if I'm Ben Sass, right, go to another level. That's the conversation I have. Hey, Strickland, you've done some great things here. I'm going to allow you to handle that, but we're separating football from the entire athletic direction. It's becoming its own entity at this point. And again, Tennessee is going to point to that with NIL and them attacking the NCAA. They are becoming their own fish. And I have a whole analogy for that's going to be a blast to talk about. But like I said, when these things come out, when this eventually does drop, the new contracts, it's Billy is basically his obviously his seat's on fire. But if he goes back out and gives Rob 1.5, because you would imagine there's going to be an uptick. You typically don't see guys stay the same, or even 1.1. I'm asking, if I'm Strickland or Ben, I'm going, how? You could have said, hey, I'll let you stay, but you're taking less. Dave, you've been quiet. Run with it, big guy.
Yeah, and you just talked about Rob Sale, and I started smiling a little bit.
I saw.
I almost busted out laughing there. I think so far, as far as like the hires go, overall, since I guess you guys kind of broke it down a little bit. I think you need a good mixture of like young and older guys, like experienced guys, because I think Billy Napier went too kind of young with Austin Armstrong, and he kind of just tried to put him in there with Corey Raymond, didn't mesh well. Of course, Corey Raymond wasn't doing his job, I guess, as far as DBs and on the field. He got Jakeem Jackson, but what else did he get? Nothing really. But you look at it overall, I think Billy's done a good job hiring more like experienced guys that can put out results. If you go to like some of the recruiting profiles, you'll look and say, well, that person really hasn't recruited that many good 4-stars, not even a 5-star. But then you look at, getting Wiggins and Chapman coming in and all that. And then you say, okay, well, maybe if they just change and give them a new logo and go to a new school, maybe they're a lot better of a coach and maybe they can recruit a lot better. So, I think he's done an overall good job with hiring the replacements so far. I like Will Harris. I like what Will Harris has done. I can say that he's recruited better quality cornerbacks besides Jakeem Jackson than Corey Raymond has so far on the trail. But I think that you got to give these guys time, obviously, to see what they can do and what kind of results that they produce. Now, the big question is like, who are you going to retain? Like you said, Rob Stale, Darnell Stapleton, some of those guys, the contracts are coming up. Like today is the deadline. We're probably, I don't even know if we're going to hear anything officially tomorrow. We could. I would assume somebody at On3 or somebody at Rivals 24/7 will put an article out saying, hey, these guys got extensions or what. But I can guarantee you this. I don't even want to say it, but I can guarantee you this: Twitter will probably be on fire tomorrow if they do announce some of these extensions.
Look, what's interesting too is the special teams coach hire. It felt like it was kept close to the chest. Finally, like nobody broke the seal, which has been nice. So I don't know if they got the rat out because I felt like those guys couldn't piss in a certain bathroom without somebody knowing. So now
I will say this though, that $1 million you said that they had like allocated, you never know what they're going to do with that $1 million either.
The extra $1 million? Oh, I see what you're saying. You're okay. So Dave, you're being a dirty little ice road trucker here because I know what you're alluding to because the people are always asking for an offensive coordinator and you're saying there could be some extra cheddar. There also is going to be extra cheddar because I know for a fact we didn't pay Gerald Chapman $1 million. So maybe we paid him $500,000. So now you got 1.5. I know we didn't pay Will Harris $755. We made him pay him another half. So now you got 1.75. So there's 1.75. I just told you the top assistant coaches make anywhere from 1.5 to 1.9. Hey,
Now you're trying to scrape it all the pennies up and be like, hey, what kind of OC we gonna get?
but what has to happen is one of these guys have to get the boot, right? Because we can't have everyone with a headset. We can't afford all the headsets. So that's
I know who can get the boot. I'm okay with that.
Well, I think we could. I think we have no problem with picking that, right? But I don't know if Billy's gonna do that. If Brandon, back to you, your professional opinion here. If we use this extra cheddar that we did some math, we got a little line around 1.5, 1.7 for a little smooth OC. Who do you think gets the boot actually? Because one of these guys has to take a step backwards. I don't know if they'll actually get fired, but they're going to have to be reallocated, correct?
Yeah. Florida's at their cap with on-field coaching staff members. So I would think that most likely one to go would probably have to be one of the offensive line coaches, whoever that may be. If that's Rob Sale looking for an NFL opportunity, I'm not saying that it's happening or anything, but I will say
Fuck, Dave, what are you doing? You can't, bro. You can't do, bro. I'm having a one-on-one with Brandon here, a serious conversation, and you're cheesing me out, Dave. What are you doing?
Hey, you're throwing some Florida Victorious out there, man. Yeah, come on.
You're a fucking mess today. I love it. All right. So hold on. So now Brandon's basically saying that Rob Sell's going to the NFL. You didn't say it, but you said it, and I'm going to run with it. Look,
I'm saying it's a possibility because guess what? He's here in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, where 32 NFL teams are. Billy Napier, Darnell Stapleton, Austin Armstrong are on the recruiting trail.
Hey, Sunburn Brandon, you better little naysayer know what's happening, big guy. Okay, don't be holding back on me. What's happening? Right?
I have no insight there. I'm just saying. Last year, the people that were in Mobile were Rob Sale, Darnell Stapleton, and Patrick Toney, and we know that Patrick Toney, a few days later, left for the NFL to go with the Arizona Cardinals. I know that the only position coach here for Florida is Rob Sale, and that there's offensive line opportunities. I have no idea if it's going to happen, but magic happens in Mobile.
Maybe.
Bro, what is? Hold on. I got Dave over here geeking me out. I got long hair burnt Brandon here, and I got Kay Ziegler says, Olsen, just because you have and I can't even say his name. I thought he said Aza Turner hair doesn't mean you can rock it like that. I like it. I think you're pulling it off.
Hey, don't make fun of Kid Rock down here, all right?
I can't deny it. I can't. This is unbelievable. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe, boys. So we went from having nice, healthy conversations to we're straight into the tea leaves. Like we're all in this thing. So just to recap for anybody that may have walked out of the room for a quick second. Billy's hiring a new offensive coordinator with a remaining $1.7 million. Rob Sale's in Mobile because he's headed to the NFL, and Darnell Stapleton's getting raised as the leading offensive lineman.
We're just running with it now.
Am I spot on? Am I new title? Am I good here? Hey, it's not clickbait. It's fact. Brandon Olsen said it, so it's all good. Look, look. I love how we're look. That's all we can do. We can just link it together. More than likely, I wouldn't expect anything to change, boys. However, look, and now that you say that with the remaining budget, maybe Billy had the idea of like, I'm going to leave $1 million left for the need that I have left over in budget to go get an offensive coordinator if need be. That's a possibility. Could be wrong here, but
hey, look, man. Maybe Rob Sale said, "Hey, let me take that trip down there. Hey, NFL buddies. Hey, anybody got a job open? Hey, maybe never know."
It's interesting because we didn't send anybody on the offensive line to the Senior Bowl. Kingsley, that's right. That's right. And he's been getting towed up from the flow up.
Oh yeah, hasn't been great.
But that doesn't mean Rob Sale will go to just support him, would it?
Yeah, I think so. Last year they were here, and it was Richard Garage, Osiris Torrance, and Patrick Toney was here because I think it was Trey Dean this year.
But Billy Gonzalez isn't there, right?
Nope, Billy Gonzalez is not there.
Oh snap!
Well, Brandon, I do appreciate you coming on and stirring shit up. getting us all rowdy. You enjoy yourself in Mobile. Have a good time. Wear some sunscreen. Tell them where they can find you at, because I know you're working away over there. And I appreciate you as always for hopping on, man.
I appreciate you. You can find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find Locked On Gators if you're a Giants fan. Giants Country with Fan Nation is where you can find Senior Bowl reports every day from me while we're down here. And I'll let you guys know if I see Rob Sale tonight.
Can you give us Twitter updates? Just like, hey, Rob Sale's still here. Rob Sale was talking to so-and-so. I just want play by play. I'm not. Hey, you can you don't even gotta be just you can be discreet about it. Just put, you know what? Just put a little pig, and we'll know that you're communicating to us. Not to refer to Rob Sale, I wasn't calling him fat. That you're communicating to us, and then put dash coach's name, and we'll know what that means. Fair enough.
That's the bad signal. Yeah. I got you.
So now everyone go follow Brandon Olson on Twitter just for that reason alone. Turn the notification bell on in case. If you tweet me out a little piglet with a name, I'm gonna go berserk. I'm just letting you know. I'm gonna go absolutely nuts. So I love it. Hey, this is Insider Track. Now we're doing journalism. All right, this is real journalism work right here, boys. All right, buckle up. We got a guy. Hey, we got a guy on the ground. We got boots on the ground. All right, hey, High Top's running, boys.
I don't report the news for nothing. And by the way, there, Brandon, I know I made fun of your hair and all that. I called you Kid Rock. Look, I couldn't even grow any like that.
You can't. Hey, you can't roll them like a 4-wheeler and then just back up. You know what I mean? You can't. You just got to roll with it, Dave. Real quick, Dominic says talk a month ago. Sale gone. High probability offensive coordinator. And then Aaron Joyner says get Brandon in the Discord. Yes, Brandon. I will send you the link to the Discord. Come on in and you can hang out with us. It's mayhem, but we just got it all organized and we got it cleaned up. Shout out to the guys that got it all cleaned up for us on the Discord. Love those guys. Also, too, if you guys want to become part of the Discord, link is in, or join it down below. Come be a part of that. It's a great time. We do watch parties, giveaways, etc. So, but I'll get you in there, Brandon.
All right, I'll be there.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Be good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Dave.
Brandon Olson. That's my guy, man. I like Brandon. I gotta make fun.
Nah, he's a trooper, man. He gets crushed on Twitter at times, and he handles it like a champ. Hey guys, 400 people. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like it.
I do. 400 people strong in here. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. Before we dive into On3's updated charts and then the Tennessee nonsense, and then it's going to be my favorite segment, which is the Mad Libs, High Top Mad Libs. It's going to be great. It's awesome. Dave thought of the idea a month and a half ago and finally remembered to do it. But other than that, we're moving in the right direction. Some quick news in case you guys don't follow us on Twitter. And I don't think I announced this on the YouTube page, which is my apologies. Mainly because I didn't want to get blasted like I did on Twitter. I took enough whippings this past week. We, in the past 72 hours, have had a baby, 2 babies. We launched High Top Sports Oregon this past weekend. We have our Oregon insider, Derek Zelmer, that is going to be running this channel. I am beyond proud and excited for this channel. Shout out to the guys on the team, Dave and Cody, for making this work. This is something we've been in the behind the scenes working on. So we've got that rolling out. And then this is where people got upset and frustrated, and I think they were a little confused. I'm not running this channel, but we have a High Top Sports Georgia. We got a lot of Georgia fans that watch the show. I am not running the channel. I am assisting while we get it up off the ground. But we have High Top Sports Georgia, ran by my man Bryce Mandala, who is actually a student at Georgia. So I am beyond excited. We've also had people reach out to now extend it even further. A Vanderbilt account reached out, wanting to run that. Some TCU. This has always been the plan for High Top, to get as big as possible and become a national brand. So one day at a time, one step at a time, brick by brick. It's been exciting and it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine, man. Like I remember when I was still doing my podcast and all that, I was watching you on YouTube. I actually came across your YouTube channel and I said, man, this guy's freaking hilarious, dude. I like
and gorgeous.
Yeah, and he's gorgeous, man. How does he get that? Yeah, how does he get that handsome hair? You know, because I can't grow it. But like, yeah, I was just watching it and I said, hey, man, I remember I messaged you and I said, hey, keep up the good work. You're doing a great job. And then like probably a couple months later, I inquired about like joining High Top, but I still had like sponsors I had to fulfill the contracts with. So it took me a little bit longer to join. But ever since then, man, I mean, we've been growing this thing. We've been kicking ass. And I love everybody that comes into these live chats and everything. I mean, we're going 400 strong on a Wednesday night. It's been a bad day for me. So look, as long as I can do this every single Wednesday and then I can still give, some of them Georgia fans and Florida State fans more gray hairs, hey, I'm happy.
Absolutely. Look, everyone's calling me a sellout and all these things. Everyone's getting all frustrated. I'm like, all right. I was like, hey, I wanted to know what it was like to be a winner. I want to know what Trevor feels like. So, no, look, I was, I, it wasn't the most exciting thing I wanted to do, but I know a lot of Georgia fans watch this. A lot of my friends are Georgia fans and they appreciate the content. I was like, look, I don't care to talk about Georgia like that, but I think it would be cool to create this brand for other people. So if we can extend it in any way, I think it's great, and hopefully we can continue to see this thing grow. It's going to be hell. I've been exhausted trying to get this thing off the ground, but keep moving, keep rocking, and we'll see. It's just a congrats, but damn, Georgia. I mean, look, eventually you're going to have to dive into the enemies. Like, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. If you want to get it as big, like that big, that's part of it. So Georgia, they've got a great fan base. I don't know what to tell you.
I will say this. Shelton wears a lot of hats, and I think he's cloned himself like 20 times because I don't see how he does it sometimes.
It's rough, man. It's rough. Real quick, though, Florida's up 54, or they're just down now. We're just up 54-53. They're 54-55 Kentucky. So keeping that game tabbed up here for us. But let's dive into the on-3 rankings really quick. Oh, that's not Dave. And look, this is something that is exciting. On-3 updated all of their recruiting. They got it right. They had DJ Lagway second just behind Jeremiah Smith. Obviously, 247 had him first. Like, we're kind of splitting hairs at that point. But after it is all said and done, LJ McCray finished very high. Florida finished 11th in the overall recruiting on-3. So it was, I think, 13th for 247, I believe, or 15th, and now 11 for on-3. Everyone obviously has their ways of looking at it. The biggest thing, though, is we finished 6th behind Georgia, which is crazy here. Georgia, Alabama, Texas, all SEC, and then Ohio State and Oregon in the Big Ten for player average rating. How you want to look at that, again, that is just the quality of player coming in. We have talked about that time and time again. A lot of that being driven by the likes of DJ Lagway and LJ McCray, two guys that are going to be day one contributors. On top of that linebacker room, I think Aaron Childs got a massive bump from on-3. A lot of the recruiting sites loved Aaron Childs over Miles Graham. I think we love Miles Graham personally, but Aaron Childs is a heavily coveted linebacker that a lot of these sites were loving alongside Fletcher Westphal. So this class, again, it may have not had the quantity of quality that we all wanted and we were all had at one point. The quantity is through the roof because look at these schools that were behind. Georgia, we know what Georgia's been able to do. Something to keep in mind, and I'm probably you're going to note this. This is not including Deontay Robinson or Jameer Grimsley because those guys were considered as transfer guys. So keep that in mind. That also means Bama's player average was not impacted by Julian Sand or Jameer Grimsley leaving as well. So it could, I don't think they'll fall out of the top 6, but just keep that in mind. Could we have jumped maybe Oregon with that because they're only 0.2 behind them? Maybe. So then Ohio State, who has blatantly come out and talked about how much money they have been spending on their NIL, which is going to also tie into the Tennessee talk here in a bit. Texas, we've seen the money they're throwing, how aggressive they have been. And then Oregon. The reason I mention all those things is that we were able to do that, and we know we haven't spent the money to that level that the 5 schools that I just mentioned. So again, me pumping sunshine, got to give kudos to the coaching staff for genuinely just essentially recruiting these guys, right? And hell, we were two or three guys away. I mean, you think we were able to hang on to Xavier and then Jamonte Waller or Amaris Williams? We're easily in the top 4. So we'll see.
I mean, it's crazy when you look at like how much quality we still have in this class, even though we lost some of the quantity. And like you're looking at like these past recruiting classes, it's like, man, Billy, can you just start getting and winning games? Like if Billy starts winning games, could you imagine what some of these classes could look like? Secondly, when you look at it and you look at player average, because this is what I do too, like the rankings. I mean, like of course I'll look at where we are ranked against the other teams in the nation. A lot of people pay attention to that. I pay attention to that a little bit. What I really look at is average player ranking because that's the talent, that's the quality of talent that you're bringing in. So you can have 13 5-stars like Miami does and be top 5, but you're not really bringing in that much quality. I mean, you have a 48% blue chip ratio as opposed to Florida's 68. So it's like, do you have, I mean, I guess you have more quantity. So maybe out of some of those 3 stars, you might find a diamond in the rough out of the 13, maybe 2. But, like, I mean, is it really worth taking that many kids? I guess they can hit the portal. But when you have a class like this, and I even said this, I said it's probably a blessing in disguise right now that we've lost some guys because we need guys that can immediately play. We need older guys. So you hit the portal, you get some of those guys in here. And I won't say that we got the best guys out of the portal. We had the opportunity to get a couple. We were jumped on it late one more time, once again, but like did it really hurt to jump in late this cycle with all the coaching changes and all the mayhem that was going on? Not really, but I think Florida could have gotten some better pieces out of the portal if they had waited a
Sure.
little bit longer. But I mean, we are where we are, and we needed to get older. And you heard our wonderful AD that everybody loves, Scott Strickland, say we need to get older. Well, what's the fastest way to get older? The transfer portal. So I think that it bode well for us, even losing some of those guys to free up some scholarships to get guys that were ready to play. So now we have to see if that translates on the field or not. And also, you have the spring portal period, which isn't as active as the fall portal period, but we'll see what they do there.
I mean, to play counter this a little bit, there's a class that we wanted to be, I guess, a little light on to be more aggressive in the portal. It needed to be this class, right? You build a great class. A great class doesn't necessarily results in more wins the following year. Maybe in 2 years, the class prior to this should have been a little more aggressive, which we're going to see that production this year, right? In that first class as well. So like the likes of Devin Moore, Kelby Collins, TJ Searcy, that second run through, we're really going to see Trayon Webb's going to have a step up in snaps. Najee Harris, that class is really going to be, honestly, hey, is this guy, can he develop? Is he recruiting well? Like, we're going to really see, are we heading in the right direction with the recruiting and player development? I know we already had that year one, but that was a little bit of a wonky year, kind of like you're keeping guys in and bringing in a few. So that was a weird one. That second year, we're going to be able to see now if it really worked out. So
Yeah, yeah, and I'll also add that like the portal rankings. Who gives a shit about the portal rankings? I mean, like if it depends on how many guys you need. Like if you need a lot of guys, your portal rank is probably going to be top 5 because you need a lot of guys at positions to play immediately. If you don't need a lot of guys, your portal ranking's not going to be really high. So you don't really need that many people to fill spots. So it's like you use the portal to supplement spots that you need to be older in,
sure.
not necessarily go top 5 or top 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever you want to call it. Like you're there to supplement spots for your team. Who cares about wherever you're ranked at? I don't get why people pay attention to the transfer portal rankings at all.
$5 from the professor says, just think of all the teams are in win now trying to buy a natty. They will spend more. They are a few pieces away in Texas, Ohio State, and UGA. So yeah, I mean, you got guys that are really going all in to make it happen with this next year, kind of pulling that Rams mentality of we're
I mean,
close. Old Miss is doing that.
I'll say that you don't see teams that recruit 5 and 4 stars repeatedly all the time. Like usually Ohio State's, Alabama's, Georgia's picking up that many transfer portal players because they don't need to.
Yeah, Ohio State went heavy quality in the transfer portal. Georgia didn't. I mean, they got heavy quality. Bama as well. Texas did a little bit of both. And alongside Oregon as well. But Oregon, I mean, had a hell of a recruiting class, the highest rated recruiting class of all time. I know that because of our High Top Sports Oregon channel, and I was able to learn about that. So look,
They're not done either. They're not done.
No, they might flip another 2024, which would pop them up even higher. So it'll be an interesting one to see how that folds out. If you guys want to go follow more of that, obviously you know where to go. But look, I was excited when I saw this, a 6th finish in the average player recruiting. Again, you know me, I'm the Sunshine Pumper, going to find a way to get a W. But again, it's just looking at it from a different perspective more than just the overall thing. So let's move into our last thing before ad libs here. And that is this Tennessee thing is it's interesting. So, look, I know we're all kind of laughing, which it is funny to laugh, but I'm trying to watch this thing unfold. So just a kind of quick little short story here. I mean, most people know what happened. Tennessee got hit with an investigation / nothing has been pursued yet. So FSU, when that news broke, it was breaking the news that here's what they've been caught with. Here is the punishment. Florida's news was just simply there's an investigation going on. This was kind of the same boat with a little more fire underneath in the sense of Tennessee. Their director, the lady, came out, basically said, hey, F off. You're not going to be doing all that nonsense. Then now the NCAA has now responded. So it looks like this thing is coming to a head where they're about to have a pissing contest, the NCAA versus, in a sense, college football. So we hate Tennessee, but what's about to happen here is the NCAA is trying to basically place penalties on Tennessee in regards to Nico, their $8 million quarterback. And you know what? It is funny because all these numbers that were being thrown around, remember the $13 million for Jay and Rashada, the $8 million for Nico, like those things were like crazy conversations. And like, it felt like, how are people having these conversations and nothing's being done about it? And now here it is coming to light. What I am interested about is Ohio State blatantly stating they have spent $13 million on their portal and recruits and retaining guys as well. How that's going to now play a factor. So all this is all, along the same lines here, with what everyone's getting in trouble with. So now we're all trying to figure out what's going to happen. So Tennessee is saying, hey, we're going to go to court with you because we don't feel like you have any legislation here to say that we were doing anything wrong. I can't remember the EXPIRE, I think is what the NIL for Tennessee is, which they've been the leading NIL collective. When you look up like top collectives, Tennessee has been running this bitch since the beginning. They got their shit in order very quickly and have been dialed in since the beginning. And hence why they've done pretty well thus far in regards to Tennessee standard on recruiting and transfer portal, et cetera, all those things. And they came out and said, look, we've done everything right. This isn't on us. They're trying to state that they flew a jet. They flew Nico in a jet to Tennessee. Like that's where it's not even the money. It's just a transportation thing. And then that goes both to the question of like, well, isn't everybody doing this? Like Kirby's like blatantly flying helicopters around. So I'm sure he's not flying kids around is what they're going to say. But what's happening, where all this is kind of bubbling up to a head, is Tennessee now is going to fight the NCAA. And from what I was gathering, I was watching a few videos, kind of reading, trying to understand what's happening here. If Tennessee wins, the NCAA will exist no longer, because what it sounds like what's happening is like the college football, right? We've been the young kid living at home with our parents, and we've gotten older. We got our teenagers. We were kind of being a little combative, right? Now we're at we're at 18, right? The NIL, we got a car, we're driving around. We want to have a late curfew. We've been staying out past 11 every single night. And then all of a sudden mom comes in and was like, it's 11:15. Where you been? It's like, Mom, I've been doing this for like 2 years. What do you mean, where have I been? Like all of a sudden now you want to hold me accountable. And we got this ego about us. Like, I don't need you. And we're out. And that's how college football is right now. It's like, hey, we don't need the NCAA. Like, you need us. We basically are a mini NFL organization. We're being ran now by anybody but you. Why do we need to follow your rules? So this could be another catalyst for college football in the direction that it is headed.
Yeah. Well, the thing I have a problem with NCAA is the fact that they pick and choose their own battles. It looks like it's like
sure,
one school will do just the same exact thing as the other school does, but they'll pick on that school instead of the other one, and it happens all across the board. And the second thing with Tennessee, they're screwed anyway because they got on probation for the McDonald's bags, and they had some violations last year. Now they're facing level 1 and level 2 on top of that. So of course they're going to fight the NCAA. That's the only chance that they got right now. I mean, they're in deep doo-doo. But like the NCAA came in when NIL came in and said basically, hey, there's no rules on NIL, guys. But then now they want to come in and try to enforce some rules. So like, what the hell's going on here? Like, to me, I think the NCAA is a big joke anyway. And honestly, as much as I don't like Tennessee, and it's not one of my most hated teams because we beat them all the time. I like to laugh at them all the time. They're a fun mess every time they come to the swamp. I'm for Tennessee in this battle. Like, I would love the NCAA just to go away. Like, everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. Why are you picking and choosing certain teams to go after in the age of NIL, where there's contracts, there's agents, there's everything else that's involved with all of these deals? You're gonna find a violation somewhere. Like, you're just gonna find one. Like, they're everywhere. How many self-imposed violations does Georgia has put out there, and then they still got staff members and players drunk driving everywhere? NCAA does nothing about that. I could just name 1,000 things going on around college football that's wrong, and way more wrong than what Tennessee did, or even Florida in this matter, or anybody else. Why aren't those teams getting busted?
Yeah, it's almost like it's Scott V says, like the NCAA knows it's over and they're forcing the issue. So they're going after, like Tennessee already has issue. They're currently under probation. So it's like, hey, this is an easy dip here where we can, set the standard and make it, then be kind of the guinea pig of like, hey, don't do this. But Tennessee's like, hey, we get enough shit as it is. We can't win in the swamp. Georgia's our daddy. Like, you're not going to beat us too. All right. That's not going to work. Like, the mayor's involved. They've got lawyers from Virginia and Tennessee involved. Like, they're not going down easily. The first time they went down because they're trying to get rid of their coach, they love themselves some cigar smoking Heupel, all right, and they're not going to go anywhere without him. So the fact that they stood up and backed him immediately, I don't think they're going to just roll over. And like I said, I think they don't have very much to stand on.
No, and I'll say this: one of my favorite wrestlers, 18K, he said it a long time ago. He said, "If I'm going down, I'm bringing everybody with me."
That's what's going on here. Austin says $2 says, I wonder if the SEC will / could void NCAA decisions. And look, I mean, the SEC, like, and this goes into, again, where we're headed with the Power 5 or the Power 4 now with the Big 10, Big 12. I mean, these conferences are so big. They function as their own. And like I said, the best way, again, they've been kids. The NCAA was the parent, but now they are so big. They're like, I don't need you anymore. We have our own set of rules. You haven't been establishing rules this entire time, anyways. Big bro over there has been doing it forever. I'm just following in his footstep, and now you want to get mad at me because I'm still the little bro? No, yeah. I'm also a big bro now. I've also grown up, and this isn't going to be okay. That's what's happening here, I think, with Tennessee, because everybody's blatantly doing it. Bam has been doing it, and it's almost like, look, Saban leaves. They're like, all right, cool. Now we can go get everybody for what Saban's been doing for the last 10 years. Like our boy Richie Leonard. Did you see his post at FSU with the BMW? Like, it's blatant. Yeah. Like, you just showed up to Tally and you got a brand new $100,000 car. And remember when we left, we had the recording of his dad stating, "Hey, they're paying him the least paid offensive lineman." Well, clearly he got paid because he just went and bought $100,000+ BMW.
Or, well, it could have been rented though too. We don't know that, but like look,
least
it doesn't matter what happens, because if Tennessee just sues the crap out of the NCAA, they don't win the battle, I guess, and then they get put on probation once again. I'm gonna laugh anyway.
It's a win-win, right? It's a win-win.
Yeah, if the NCAA goes down, I'm gonna laugh too. So hey, it's a win-win, like you said.
It's gonna be a wild one. I mean, obviously we had the Florida and the Rashada situation. I think that's kind of quieted down. I mean, outside of, again, the fact that we found out about the investigation, not much more has come of it. So we'll see if the NCAA is legitimate or if they're just going to be what they've been this entire time, a joke. It's almost like they heard us making fun of them and they're like, you know what? We're sick of this. We're going to go make a point.
Yeah, like what I thought, like you said, what I thought was cool is like they talk about investigating Florida for the Rashada thing, and that happened, God, 2 years ago now? And then now they're going to investigate Tennessee, but they're going to go out and say, oh, well, it's level 1 and level 2, or somebody's going to report that. Nobody's reported anything on us.
Well, the Nico was the same year, I believe, right?
Yeah, Nico was last year, I think, right? No, Nico
that was a Rashada. I think it was even before Rashada. Rashada was.
Yeah, I think Nico was in class. Maybe, can't remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You get old, you lose track of time.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. Those things overlap. All right, let's move on to our last little bit here. I didn't get tweets of the week, Dave. Sorry, it was mayhem before the show. But we do have this new segment of Mad Libs, High Top Sports Mad Libs. Again, I love this idea. It's fantastic. We didn't promote it on the YouTube channel, which we were behind the 8 ball. Miscommunication on Dave and I's part. Dave texted me. I thought he was going to post it, but he sent it to me to post it, and I did not post it. What's funny is he wrote this up before the Tennessee news came out. Like, he just off the top of his dome. This segment is brought to you by the Devil Dogs Brewing Company, our coffee company here. So be sure to go scoop yourself a bag of coffee. It is absolutely delicious. Tons of flavors. Just go on there. You can pick anything that you want.
Speaking of that, I'm not a Peru guy. I guess Peru coffee or whatever. I opened that up the other day because I had a sample of that still left, and I never had it. The Peru is actually pretty good.
It's all delicious. I've got family members that don't drink coffee. My mom actually, and she enjoyed it. I made her a Colombian coffee the other day, like straight gasoline, my boy. That shit has been getting me through the week here. She was not a fan, but my good, you talk about crack cocaine, my boy. That'll
come about putting a rocket up your ass.
Oh yeah, edit the zoom. All right, boys, real quick here. We keep this kind of family friendly, but some of the plugins here were a little not horrible, but I don't know who's watching, so just they were good, but I had to, so it's not my fault. All right, Mad Libs. Tennessee needs blank and blank to win the SEC this year. These are responses from Twitter. So first order of business is Tennessee needs a strap-on. and extra lube to win the SEC this year. I told you it was going to be a little dicey. The first one just comes and punches into the mouth. So
Was
you're,
that dog?
I don't know. I thought about getting the names. Maybe next time I put the names below. I was strapped for time. Come on, come on. That was all right. All right. I was like, give me.
I know. You lubed that one up for us. I know.
Yeah, there we go. All right, that's good. All right, next up, Tennessee needs Jesus and Peyton Manning to win the SEC this year. There were a few like a Lord in a prayer, so I was like, this is probably the best like Lord in a prayer version.
They can have Peyton Manning. He's never beaten us, so I'll take it.
That's true. Tennessee needs a PS5 and NCAA 24 to win the SEC this year. I love that one, and I saved the best one for last. Whoever wrote it, great job. You got me. You know the weight of my heart. Tennessee needs Holly's mom and the defense to win the SEC this year. I was like, them sons of bitches. They got me. Yeah, I'm a sucker for a good mom's joke. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, you could have put whatever in the second line, and I was there. You had me. You could have left it blank. Could have left it blank.
They could have put your mom in there. You could.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe
anytime.
Mine too.
Anytime. Quick update, boys.
You watching?
Oh. Quick update. 68-70 with 8 minutes to go on ESPN. Florida versus Kentucky. Todd Golden. Let's talk about basketball for a quick second. I know we don't typically talk about basketball, but let's do it for a quick second before we wrap up the show. Watching that, George. Good.
No, I said okay. Let's go.
Watching that Georgia game this weekend, man, I was pumped. We were looking great. We were dominating. And then the way we almost collapsed at the end there, I was like, this guy is going to lose his job as he walks off the court and being Todd Golden. I was like, golly, dude, you're killing me, bro. Like, all these new coaches I'm trying to support and be a big fan of. And it's like, you guys are just like looking to like have this fan base just wring your neck week in and week out. Thankfully, we were able to pull it out. But they're able to walk into Kentucky and get the dub. Obviously, we played Kentucky at home just a few weeks ago. Again, played great, and then fell apart at the end. Free throw up, just lack of free throws, lack of discipline, lack of killer mentality. That is coaching, right? I feel like he's done a great job of putting together some pieces. I feel like the talent is there, but in the moment, the focus gets lost. The conditioning maybe isn't there. Nobody knows where to go. And I'm like, look, I'm always sunshine pumping. I'm like, this is hard to defend because when the shit gets tough, we find a way to screw it up. And we almost twice found a way to screw it up against Georgia. Thankfully, we were able to pull it out because thankfully Mike White also didn't know how to close out his nuts at the end. And he still has that trait headed into Georgia. But look, getting a win at Kentucky is going to be huge to salvage what is Todd Golden's career right now at Florida.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that Georgia game too. I actually watched basketball for a little bit because I made a funny tweet that said we gave him Mike White and they gave us a bunch of the crappy transfers, but we traded him for Mike White. So I thought that was a funny tweet. And then when they tied it and went to overtime, I was like, oh God, they're going to turn on me. So yeah.
Yeah, quick. It was quicker. I was talking shit too.
Hey, they still wound up winning, so that's good. But like, yeah, I mean, you look at it like when you got your foot on somebody's throat, you got to stomp on that, man. Like
Sure.
We kind of did that even with Billy Napier in the Tennessee game last year. We were up 26-7 at halftime, and we kind of just coasted the whole rest of the way, made it like 29-17 when we could have just really probably scored 40 or so.
For sure. Well, Dave, great show, bud. I love you. Thank you for coming on. I haven't seen you since we hit 20K, so congrats to you as well for being a part of the family, for hitting 20K. And again, huh?
We've been talking.
We've been talking for quite some time. That is true, but not like face to face. We haven't really had like a convo of like, hey, what's going on? It's just been like, hey, yes, you got that, cool, sweet, all right. So awesome stuff. And again, I had a show on Sunday when we hit it, and I played a video of all like our old intros of Holly, and everyone was freaking out that Holly was back. I didn't think that would happen.
I saw you playing like it was like 6 or 7 different intros right at the beginning.
Yeah,
but
like, it's kind of like a throwback, like a little sentimental thing.
I didn't know you were going to be on Sunday. You could have got a nice drunk me on the show, but you didn't.
Yeah, I stay away from you on the weekends. I get the snaps in the Discord going, you know what, Dave's living his best life, so we're gonna just let that be.
Hey, we always got to know who or what is drinking on something, especially on a Friday.
That's true, especially on a Friday. Well, boys, I love you. Again, thank you for allowing it. I mean, we hit 20,000 on Sunday. We're at 2,100, so the train's still moving. We are able to expand it to two channels on top of what we already have. So it's awesome. It's incredible. It's moving 1,000 miles a minute. Sometimes I wonder if I'm moving too quick, but just kind of keep trusting it and believing and trusting that, hey, God's got it. We he's pushing us the right direction. So following my gut, and hopefully, you guys are enjoying it. I'm having a blast getting to hop on here and continue to do this. So it's humbling. It's appreciative to be able to do this week in and week out, and you guys continue to show up. I know I always do this and have a little moment, but it genuinely is very meaningful and humbling to be able to do this. We also have some big conversations happening with some potential sponsorships. If these things are able to go the way that I'm hoping, I have big plans for the football season on really sending her through it. Also, let's start putting it out there. I know it's only January, but the NFL draft, we are having a massive show at Best Bet here in St. Augustine. I will keep pumping this thing once we've got everything finalized. But Cody is coming down from Indiana to be a part of the show. It's going to be huge.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. If you want to come, Dave, send her. It's on a Thursday. I know you don't know what the NFL is. It's where the guys go after college football. But
Oh, is that where they go?
yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. There's the thing they're called Super Bowls, so the championship that's coming on in 2 weeks. You should definitely give it a shot. But we had a great time last year at Best Bet, and we're excited to go back. Mr. Bozeman, one of our big longtime supporters, he works there, and dude, it was awesome. We loved it. So we're hoping to do it even bigger and better this year. Do some giveaways for each round. Again, it has potential to be really big. So we'll see.
Is that the sport with Taylor Swift on it?
That's the one. That's the one.
Also, you got to mention spring game. It's on a Saturday this year. I think it's on April. What did I say? I know it's on April the 13th. So, hey, Harmonic Woods will always be there. I don't know, Shelton, if you're doing anything for the spring game. I know you usually have something set up. What you're doing.
We'll be there.
But if you were set up at the Tailgate Guys tent up there, you need to let me know. If not, hey, you always got a spot at Harmonic Woods there.
And Florida's up 73-72 with 6 minutes to go. Boys better close it down strong. Lee says, Shelton, do not let anyone sign a damn helmet this year. And it sucks because I really want to do another one, but I'm like genuinely afraid to do it. Like, not even joking. I do not think it's a good idea. But when I'm there, I usually give one away. So you little twats give me shit. Someone wins one, all right? So I gave one away last year. Somebody yelling at me because I gave away 2 helmets. And I know the one who has it's thankful for it.
Yeah, there's like a nice little duck race, and you get to watch it, and then everybody quacks, and then you win a helmet.
We need to do a duck race. I need to do a duck race. Next Wednesday, I got to do a damn duck race and give some shit away. You guys deserve it. I've been bad about that. Dave, I love you. You guys be good. Like and subscribe. On the way to 40,000. What's up, Callie? I'm going to hang out with Shelton at the Orange and Blue game. You better, Elliot. I want you by my side the whole time. Hip the hip, not the butt.
You got to hang out with the old Dave Meister, the guy that reports the news.
We'll see.
Okay.
I love you guys. Go Gators, boys.
Man, ask for Wolfman, ask for Donna. Hey, we're
Until next time, I'm Shelton.
And I just report the news. I don't hear any music, Shelton. Where's your music?